This is the latest that I have waited to prune my hydrangea hedge. Normally here in my central Indiana zone 6, I start pruning my hydrangeas around mid-March. But this year is the beginning of April and I am just getting to do this, and I'm a little bit worried because the branches, the stems that I am cutting here are already showing huge signs of buds, of sprouting, and I am going to do what I do every year anyways. And hopefully I don't mess up the shrubs. I think it will be really hard for me to bother these shrubs, to damage them by pruning them really hard, but you never know. You never know. A few years ago, I found out that the cuttings that I take from pruning my hydrangea hedge, from my paniculata hydrangeas especially during the spring, are the perfect way to propagate them, to get new plants. I found out by accident, and that's how now I have a couple of standard hydrangeas, three hydrangeas. And while I do love the idea of having free plants, I just don't have the space or the time or really the desire to go through the trouble of propagating them because I just don't need to. But if you have one or two of these paniculata hydrangeas and you want to look into getting free plants for the upcoming years, you should definitely look into propagating them. In my experience, they are very easy to propagate. All you need to do is put the fresh cuttings in some potting mix, or really a lot of people place them straight into the ground, and fingers crossed, you should get a few free plants for the future. As you can see, I am really taking a lot from these shrubs. These hydrangeas have been here for quite a few years now and they are established, and every spring I prune them really hard. This is a way for me to keep them in track, to keep them in control. If I let them, these shrubs will be enormous, and being only 5'3", I just want to make sure that I am able to reach them and they are not completely taking over this area. This is a job that takes me quite a long time, honestly, but having a little bit of help is always nice. And it makes this job a lot easier. Last year, I decided to plant some daffodil bulbs in these curtain steel planters. I decided to get 3 different kinds of daffodils. As some of you know, I am not the biggest fan of daffodils, so I decided to give them a try in planters in case if I didn't like them, I could easily just remove them. I didn't have to dig them from the ground. And the 3 varieties that I have here are Sir Winston Churchill, which is a lovely, lovely bloom, Pink Champagne, which I think is the one that I have blooming right now, and Bridal Crown. I don't know how I feel about these yet, but I will let you know here in about a month when I need to remove these guys, and we'll see where they end up. I do have to say it, in my experience, the bulbs, every single bulb, tulips or daffodils that I have planted in the fall in my corten steel planters have been doing great. I have a few containers now with some tulips and they look amazing. This is not the case for my concrete planters, and I don't know if there's something going on there during the winter with the concrete planters that do differently with the steel that just make a huge difference in the bulbs actually coming through. So far, things are going great in the garden. A few things are blooming, other things are just starting to pop through the ground. There's definitely a lot to do in the garden this month. April is just one of those months where you just gotta keep on going, and I am loving it. I hope that you're having an amazing spring so far, and if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.